Hey, everybody, welcome to the workshop. So glad that everybody's here. So, how's everyone doing? Just want to get a pulse check. How's everyone doing? How are we feeling about Dev Day? And for anyone who wants to follow along, I'm going to make sure that you all get a link to the GitHub repo, and that way you can follow along. And if you see the repo is here, you can clone that repo and get started. So to kind of break down what we're going to do today. So the repo you're going to clone. This is the Assistant Zero, which is the same app that you saw Depot use in the keynote. It's an Assistant Zero. It's an AI chat application. And what we're going to do is we're going to add tool calling to it. And we're going to use the token vault to make sure that the external tool that we're calling, which is going to be the Gmail API, we're not sharing that directly with the API. It's going to be hosted in Auth0's token vault. So that way it's not shared directly with the AI. So that's going to be the first thing that we're going to do. All right, so here's the repo. So make sure that you clone it. And then there's going to be two folders you can go into. Assistant Zero here is the actual application. And then there are going to be the actual steps for the workshop. So once you CD into Assistant Zero and npm install the dependencies, just put a 1 in the chat just so I know that you've done that for the people who are following along. All right, and just to make sure there's anyone else need the link or anything else like that so you can get to the repo, so you can clone it and make sure that you're CD into Auth0 Assistant Zero. All right. All right, so we got at least one in the chat. All right, so if you're CD'd into Assistant Zero and then you've did your npm install, you should be ready to go. The next thing that you're going to need is a OpenAI API key, so an OpenAI account and an OpenAI key. And you can get that from going to platform.openai, and then you can just click on create a key. I have already done that, so I'm not going to create a key and show everyone that here. But if you go to platform.openai.com, you can create a key, and then the dashboard, or you can create an account, and then in the dashboard, you can create your key. And once you have your OpenAPI API key, or your OpenAI, I'm sorry, API key, just give me a 1 in the chat when you have that done as well. All right, so if you um, all right, so in order to generate the key, you have to go to the dashboard, and then if you go to the dashboard on the left hand side, and I'll pull up another tab and show you real quick, just so everyone is seeing. So once you have it created, you can go to dashboard here, and then this actually looks different on a bigger screen. Okay, so you can go to API keys here, and then you can create a new key right there. And see, I already have mine created, so I'm not going to show them on the stream, because the whole point of this is for it to be hidden from the AI or anyone else using the Auth0 token vault. All right, so hopefully that was helpful for you and you're able to get a key generated. I'm going to give you all a couple of more minutes before we move on to the next step. All right. So hopefully everyone's got their API keys. All right. Thank you. I see Try Again, Seven Sky, and Rangu Nath. So appreciate you. All right. So the next step. So before I have you do the next step, I want everyone to just like pay attention to make sure that this part gets done right. So for this workshop, you need to have an Auth0 account. And if you already have an Auth0 account, you need a new tenant, right? So if you already have an Auth0 account, you can't use the same one that you have. You need a new tenant for Offer GenAI. That new tenant will make sure you have the proper features like the token vault to be able to use with your application. So I'm going to send a link in the chat for the easiest way for you to do that. And let me send the link in the chat. Hold on, I'm using a Windows keyboard and stuff. I'm used to using a Mac, so I'm like wrapping my head around the whole like this Alt button is not Command. So I'm using a lot of muscle memory. And then the parts I'm going to show you here is the create Auth0 account and developer tenant, and then also create an application. So if you click these two from that link, it'll create your Auth0 account and the proper tenant and Auth0 application. And you're probably wondering, like, why do you need a new tenant? That's because our developer, or the Auth Gen AI, is in a developer preview. So it's not available on the standard Auth0 account. You have to get a Offer Gen AI account and then create the new tenant, and you'll have the necessary features enabled and configured so you can use them for this session or any other time you're using the applications. So like once you create an account and or log into your account, you got to accept the terms and conditions and then choose the region for your new tenant. But the easiest way to do that is just to click those two buttons from that link that I sent. And so I'm gonna give everyone a couple minutes to do that. And then, so I don't want to get the ones confused with the OpenAI ones or the other ones from earlier. So when you're done, when you got the Auth0 account and Auth0 tenant and the application, let me know. And just to like help out, if you know that you're on the right Auth0 tenant, up in this upper left hand corner, it should say Gen AI and then dash and then some numbers, and then you can click switch tenant and then click on the proper one that you need. As you see, I'm already there, but if you need to switch, that's how you would make that switch. So give you a couple minutes, and when you have the application set up and the new tenant set up, give me a 2 in the chat. All right, everyone. So I see that we got try again done. Anyone else drop their twos before we move on to the next step? As far as like action, we're just going to look at the setup of these applications. So the application you downloaded, the Assistant Zero. So I'm already seeded into Assistant Zero. It's a Next.js application. It already has all the dependencies installed for you to start using it, including the Auth Zero Next.js SDK to take care of Auth for you and everything like that. And we're also, it's has lane chain or lane graph, I'm sorry, installed and everything. So everything you need to do is already installed. We're just going to add the functionality today. So if you go to the source directory, we got the app folder, right? And there we have the main page, like the home page that has our chat interface. We have the routes that we're going to use where we're going to like handle the chat requests. And this is where we're going to define our AI agent as well. We have our UI components here. We're going to use lib for any services or configuration. So this is where we're going to define like our custom tools. And then we have our .env.local. I already filled out all of mine, so I'm not going to show you this one, but I'm going to show you the .env.example. So this is where you will put your OpenAI API key, and we're going to get some more of these as well to fill in here. But this is where you put your OpenAI key that we got earlier. All right. So if you give you a couple minutes to enter your OpenAI key if you haven't already. So once you have your OpenAI key in your, oh yeah, also this .env.example, make a copy and then just name it .env.local. And that's where I want you to put your information. Again, I'm not going to show you mine because all of my stuff and my secrets are there. So copy this example, name it to .env.local. And then once you have your OpenAI API key in there, we'll move on to the next step. And when you do, give me a 3 in the chat, and I'll give about 2 minutes to do that. All right, so we got try again is ready. So now that we have that, we're going to stay in this .env.local. So make sure yours says .env.local. And now we're going to fill in the rest of these values. The base URL should stay the same, the localhost 3000. We're going to get the Auth0 domain, the Auth0 client ID, and the Auth0 client secret. We want to get these from auth0.com on the dashboard. And then we're going to create the secret in the terminal. So now let's go to the Auth0 dashboard. So I'm going to go here. Make sure you're on your GenAI tenant, right? Make sure it has that GenAI in the front. And then the next thing we're going to do is go to applications, and then applications. And then if you click that link from here and created an application, there should be an application already completed called Web App Quick Start Client. So if you have that, click there. And then here is your domain, your client ID, and your client secret. And everything else should have been set up for you, like the callback and the logout URLs and everything like that. But these three values we want to copy, and there's a copy button right there. And we want to paste them into our .env.local. And then for the Auth0 secret, we're going to generate that. And we're going to generate it by in our terminal running this command, the open SSL ran / hex 20 or hex 32. So we run that, and then you take that value, and I already have one, so this value is meaningless to me. That's why only reason I'm showing it. Then you would take that value and then paste it here. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. So just to recap, make sure everyone is following along. Take the domain, make sure it has the GenAI in the front, the client ID, and the client secret. Paste them here inside of your code editor under env.local for domain, client ID, and secret, and then generate a secret by running OpenSSL ran - hex 32. And I'll give you a few minutes to do that. And when you are done doing all of those steps, give me a number 4 in the chat. like we got 2 people so far, 3 people so far who's finished that. And for the people in the chat are asking about like what application to create, right? Deepu was correct. If you create it through this quick start, it'll automatically have everything you need like set up for the offer Gen AI. So I would recommend going through this link here through the quick start and creating the application there. That way, um, some of those things you don't have to like worry about. You can get like quick to the action. All right, so now that we got our Auth0 domain, our Auth0 client ID, and our Auth0 secret, which lets Auth0 know which application we're connecting to, which is our assistant 0, then we're going to run the application for the first time. So we're going to do npm. I do not like typing when people are watching me. npm run dev. And we should have our beautiful chat interface. Here we are. It looks like I'm already logged in. All right. So yeah, once you get it running, just put a 5 in the chat. It shouldn't take too long, so I wouldn't need the music or anything. But yeah, npm run dev. And it should be on localhost 3000. And so, like I said, the auth and everything is already set up on this application, so you don't need to add the SDK from Auth0 or anything like that. All that is set up and handled for you. So now that we have Assistant 0 set up and connected to our application, we can move on to the next step, which is adding our first tool call. So we can get to action as soon as possible. We're going to add something fairly simple. We're going to add a calculator to our agent so our agent can do math. So I'm going to log back in real quick. Log in with Google. Because if anyone in the chat knows me personally, know that I don't do passwords. So of course I'm going to log in with Google. All right, so now we're going to get to writing our first bit of code. And so let's go back to our code editor. The first file that we want to go to is source app API chat and then routes TS. So a little bit of spoiler, I already had, because I know how live demos go, I have everything already done. So I'm just going to highlight the things that I'm talking about just for me to feel comfortable that something doesn't go wrong. All right, so we're going to import calculator from LangChain Community Tools Calculator. It's a community tool from LangChain. So it's already installed, and all you got to do is import it. And that would be the command to import it. And if you're following along, this same command should be, or the same code should be in the workshop steps on step 02, tool calling calculator. And then once we have that, we're going to go down to this post function. And in the post function, it should start out as a, I believe it was an empty object, I believe, or an empty array. But we're going to change it to add in new and make a new instance of calculator. So new calculator is what we're going to put in there. And this goes right above LLM. So put that right above LLM. And then the last thing we're going to do is scroll down to create React agent. And then here it will be an empty array. So just take that out, right? So it should start like this. Just take that out and make sure you add the comma, and that will be how we add that tool call. And make sure that you save it, of course. Me and the I'm just gonna, okay, yeah, that's saved. All right, so just to recap, I'm gonna give you a couple minutes to do it. Make sure we import calculator from LangChain Community Tools Calculator. Make sure we add a new instance of calculator here inside of tools, inside of the tools array. Scroll down to create rack agent and remove the empty array from tools. Make sure that we add the comma. So I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to do that. And when you get it done, make sure you put a 6 in the chat so I know that you have it done. All right, now that we got everything set up, I'm going to See if the tool call works and see if it does some math. All right, what is 1 plus 1? See how smart Assistant Zero is. I think I know what's happening. All right, so 1 plus 1 equals 2. So let's congratulate. All right, so we got 1 plus 1 equals 2. So it actually made the tool call and was able to talk to the LangChain community calculator and respond back with that answer. So let me know, what math did you ask Assistant Zero? And again, make sure that you have all your credentials entered, right? So if we go back to VS Code, we want to make sure that we have the base URL, the Auth0 secret that you create in the terminal, the domain, the client ID, and the client secret. Those 3 you get from the Auth0 dashboard. Make sure you have your open API key as well that you get from platform.openai. Right, yeah. And if you look at the console, it'll give you the details, the name, the arguments that you got, and everything like that. And it'll tell you that the post request was successful. So pretty cool. So if you got a tool call, and before we do that, just to recap here, right? We import calculator from the LangChain community. Inside of this post request, we add this new instance of calculator, right? So just this, don't worry about these other parts. Just tell them that we're using GTP40 mini, right? And then create React agent. There's going to be an empty array here. We delete that and just leave it with tools with the comma. And then we should go back to Assistant Zero and have that to be able to ask Assistant Zero some math. All right, so if you was able to get it back, let me know. So I'm going to give everyone just a few minutes to make sure that they've done that, just like 2 minutes. And if you was able to get a response back from Assistant Zero, I'll leave like a 7 in the chat. All right. Glad. So like try again, got some tool calls. So now, we've done something simple, something quick, something you can just see, how easy it is to add the tool call. Now we're going to actually go to something external. We're actually going to use Gmail to access the Gmail API and get it inside of Assistant Zero. Because the whole point of Assistant Zero is to like help you with your daily life. And sometimes you need a little bit more than math, right? You need to know with some unread emails, create emails, add stuff to, your to calendar, right? So Assistant Zero is you can add all these tools securely using Auth Zero to make your life easier to be your assistant, right? Hence the name. So the next thing we're going to do is set up Google so we can get the proper APIs and everything like that. So we can start pulling in a third-party tool. So the first thing you need to do is go to the Google portal so you can actually create a Google developer account if you don't have one, right? So here I am, and I sent the link in the chat. And then the first thing you want to do is create a application or a project actually. So I already have a few in here, but you can create a new project. You can give it, the name that you want, choose your organization and your location. And I think because mine is like work related, I think the organization part shouldn't be a part of yours. That you should just have name and location. So once everyone has a project created, could you leave at 8 in the chat? Or a Google account and a project. All right, I don't see any eights yet, but for the sake of time, I am going to move on to the next step in the Google developer account. And if you want to follow along or catch up, here's the link if you don't have it for the step that I'm currently on. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to click on APIs and services. And then we're going to click on enable APIs and services. And also in this upper left hand corner, you want to make sure that it's the same project that you created, right? Since there's multiple ones here, so you can click there and pick the right one that works for you. All right, so click enable APIs and services. And I'm just going to do a search for Gmail. And then click on the Gmail API. Now right here for me, it says manage because I've already enabled it. As you can see, it has API enabled. And so for if you haven't enabled it already, then this button should show up as enable for you. So make sure that you click that. And I'm going to give you all a couple of minutes to do that. So when you do have the Gmail API enabled, then make sure that you drop a Am I on 9 now? Yeah, so drop a 9 in the chat. All right. So I didn't see any 9s in the chat, but for the sake of time, I am going to move to the next step. If you're having any issues, like I said, you can follow the link that I sent in the chat for the step that I'm on. And if you have any questions in the chat, there are plenty of Auth0 people here that can probably help you along as well if anyone's having any issues. So the next step we're going to move to is we need to configure the application. So if you click on this navigation menu and scroll all the way down and click on view all products, and then no, okay, this isn't how it was earlier. I was on a smaller monitor. It was pretty easy last time. Okay. What am I missing? Yeah, this is different on this screen. It's the Google Auth platform, and I can send a direct link to it. So, and I'm just gonna visit that link myself. So right here, the Google Auth platform. Raguneth, that sounds like that might be an issue with your Open API key. All right, so on the Google Auth platform, there's a few steps. You kind of almost touch every single one of these menu items. So we're going to go through them one by one. And again, it's in the doc if you need help following along. So the first thing we'll click on is branding, and it'll ask you for your app name. I'm going to call it Dev Day. Put in a user support email, right? So I'll put in my email. And another thing it's going to ask for is authorized domains. So for this, I put auth0.com. And this is for basically when we log in and it asks for that consent, what are the domains that are allowed for you to give that consent to? So I'm saying, since I'm going through Auth0 for the authentication, this is saying I'm allowing Auth0 to make this request on my behalf for this application. And then we're going to do the developer contact information, and then you can just type in your email, and then you would click save. So you would add a name, a support email, an authorized domain, and for this it should be auth0.com, and then developer contact information. And then I'm going to give you like 2 minutes to do that, and then hit me with a 10 if you got it done. All right, so we got 110 in the chat from Try Again. And yeah, thank you, Adrian, about letting them know about the credits you need with OpenAI platform. So yeah, that is correct. You would need some credits to be able to make those requests. All right. The next step in this is audience here. So we click audience, and if it's not already on external, you want to click that and make it external. But as you see, mine is already like that. And then we want to add some test users. The test users must be valid Gmail accounts. So I've added 2 email addresses here so I can make requests from those email addresses. So all you got to do is make it external if it's not, and then add the users. You just put them here and click save. So I'm not going to spend too much time there. And then the next step we're going to go to, which is the fun part, we're going to go to data access, right? So for data access, you're going to go to add or remove scopes, and then you can search for the ones that you want. But for this one, we're going to do Gmail modify that can read, compose, and send emails from your Gmail account. Off Gmail compose, manage draft and send emails, and off Gmail read only, view your email messages and settings. So basically put a blue check mark on those, and then you should be able to scroll to the bottom and click update. So because that's kind of the most important part, so click on add and remove scopes, click these three, modify, compose, and read only. I'm going to give you all 2 minutes to be able to set that up. And when you're done, give me an 11 in the chat. All right. I didn't see any in the 11s, but I am going to move on again for the sake of time. Make sure once you see these restricted scopes, make sure that you hit save. All right. So the last thing we need to do on Google side is to set up the OAuth client in Google. So we're going to click on clients here, and then you're going to click on create client, right? The application type should be a web application. So just make sure, I feel like that was kind of fast. So go to clients, click on create client, application type web application. And then of course you give it a name. I picked Auth0 or Assistant 0 web client. And then add in your Auth0 tenant domain, right? So the easiest place to get that is in your tenant settings. So click on your tenant, click on settings, and go to custom domains, and I see that I'm actually not on the AI tenant. So kids, make sure you're on the AI tenant. All right, so you go to custom domains, and then you will get this here. All right, so you will set in. So the authorized JavaScript origins is the Auth0 tenant domain, and the authorized redirect URLs is the Auth0 tenant domain /login/callback. And again, all of these instructions are on um, the README in the steps, and I'm on step 03, setting up Google. So when you're creating this new application, make sure you have authorized JavaScript origins as the GenAI domain and authorized redirect URIs as the um, 0 GenAI domain /login/callback. And then once that is set up, then you would just click create. All right. So once you have that set up, can I get a 12 in the chat? And I'll get y'all a little bit of time. All right, cool. And also make sure that the once you click save, the OAuth client gets created, and then you'll get a client ID and a client secret that you will need for later. All right, so with these steps, the Google Cloud project is set up. You now have a client ID, client ID, and was a secret. So now we're going to head back to Auth0 to configure the Google social connection. So for that, we will go to authentication and then social. And then we're going to click the Google social connection. And then you're going to add in the Google client ID that you got, as well as the client secret that you got from Google. So add in the client ID from Google and the client secret from Google by going to authentication, social, and then clicking Google -OAuth. Because Auth0 gives you like development keys, but you don't want to use that for this. So this is why we're entering in like our own stuff, but you get the development keys by default. And then we scroll down and then we go to our permissions, and then we go to Gmail, and then we select gmail.read-only and gmail.compose. And then probably the most important part and the GenAI specific part is that once we have those permissions selected, we scroll all the way down and make sure you enable Token Vault under the advanced settings and make sure that you click save. And make sure again that you're on the GenAI tenant because this option won't show up if you're not on that tenant. All right, and once you have that done, let me get a 13 in the chat. And I'm not going to do the music, I'll just give you a little time. So let's just kind of go over what we did again. We went to authentication, social. We clicked on Google -OAuth 2, entered the client ID from Google, the client secret that we got from Google, Went to permissions, scroll down to Gmail, add in read only and compose, scrolled all the way down, and we enabled the token vault because we are on our GenAI tenant, and then we click save changes. All right. Now, we're going to go back to our code editor. All right, so back on the code editor. Now we're going to make sure that the AI doesn't handle the credentials from Google directly. Instead, Auth0 will manage them with the OAuth 2.0 flow with Google. So when the user wants to use this Gmail integration, they'll be redirected to Google to grant permission, and then Auth0 will store the necessary tokens in the token vault. All right, so let's set up that part so we can use the token vault. So for this on the application, we're going to go to source, lib, and Auth0-AI. And just like the other one, I have everything set up. So we're going to add some new imports. We're going to get the get refresh token from lib Auth0, and we're going to import Auth0-AI from Auth0/AI-LangChain. Also, something that Deepu mentioned earlier in the keynote, that you can import slash, and there's a lot of different AI services that we have that's linked to these. So be sure to check those out. All right, and then we're going to make a new variable with the new Auth0-AI instance. So import these two. And then create this new instance. And then we're going to, under the comment for connection for Google services, we're going to paste in all of this. And this code is on the doc. But we're going to grab the token for connection and what connection we're using, and then what scopes that is asking for, and then what the refresh token is going to be. We're going to get that from get refresh token. All right. So once you have this part set up, so you've did the proper imports, you created the new Auth0-AI instance, and then connected to the Google services with the proper scopes. Can I get a 14 in the chat when you do that? All right, got a couple of people done. So now we're going to set it up so Assistant Zero can get access to your email. So we're going to go back to that source app API/chat, and then the route.ts file. So let's go back up to the top, and then we're going to import the with Google connection and get access token functions that we made in this Auth0 dash AI.ts. So we're going to import those in here. And we're also going to import the Gmail search from the LangChain community Gmail tool. So import Gmail search from LangChain community /tool/Gmail, and then with Google connection and get access token from the Auth0-AI file that we created earlier. All right, so then we're going to go down to this post function again, and right before the tools variable, we're going to add a Gmail params, and it'll have our access token that we're going to get from get access token. And then we're going to update the tools array, and they're going to add with Google connection new Gmail search and pass in Gmail params. So pass in this from up here. So with those two added, we should be able to go back to our wonderful assistant 0 and ask it, what's my last unread email? And even with the typo, it'll probably know what I'm talking about, but let's make it correct. Hold on. I know what's happening. All right. So my last unread email is from Navin with the subject is check in from your flight now. So I'm a little late. I need to check into my flight. But yeah, that's I'm able to Assistant 0 is able to tell me like, hey, your last email saying you need to check in for your flight. So without Assistant 0, I wouldn't have checked in and I would have been late. All right. And if your server isn't running, hit npm run dev to get it running. And as Deepu pointed out earlier, you should be able to see the tool call inside of the terminal. So tool call state, it made the call, said what it was, looking to do, search Gmail, put in the arguments is unread, right? Results 1, right? That's the query that it made, and that's what it showed inside of Assistant 0. I think that's pretty nifty. So we got 5-ish, 10-ish minutes left. So I want to show how we can also draft emails. And I think this will be pretty fun. All right, so now we can draft emails. So we need to go back to we're on the route.ts, right? And this is Gmail create draft. So add that to your import. And then in our post function, add in another with Google connection, new Gmail create draft, Gmail params, right? So add the comma, add that to the array. Make sure that you save that. And that's all we should be able, or all we should have to do real quick to add drafting. So if you enjoyed this workshop, what I would like for you to do, if you want, right, is create a email to my friend. Oh my God, I hate when people are watching me type. To my friend William.Johnson@okta.com with the subject Dev Day is so fun. I'll be back next year. And hopefully it still understands it with my typo. Okay, so yeah, System 0 is creating an email draft to my friend. If you want to send it, just let me know. And see if it asked me for, yeah, it's only for drafting, yeah. But yeah, I knew that was going to happen. But you wanted to let you see that since it didn't have like the proper setup for that, it didn't make the tool call, right? So that's the part that's important because you want to make sure that the permissions are correct. So it does have access to my Gmail. It does have access to be able to view my unread email. Sorry, I'm looking at this camera. So anyway, it does have access to my email. It does have my API keys, but it only can do what I actually allowed it to have access to do. So that's like the beauty of using Auth for GenAI, is that it makes sure that the assistants or AI agents can only do what you allow them to do. All right. So yeah, that is the end of the workshop. So basically, we created a Auth0 tenant with Offer GenAI. Um, Auth0 tenant with Offer GenAI. We um, ag- we activated the token vault inside of there. We created a client on Google to be able to send that information. We gave it permissions. We allowed those permissions inside of Auth0 and was able to use it inside of our Assistant Zero application to um, use a calculator. It was able to see my last emails, even draft the email for me, but it wasn't able to send an email because it did not have the proper permissions. All right. So if you want, you can take some time and go through and add some more permissions to, make any other changes or access as well, because it'll be secure in the Auth0 token vault. So thank you so much, everyone, for participating. And don't forget to share what you've learned and make sure that you tag us on X, LinkedIn, so we know what we're doing. So thanks, everyone, so much for participating. And yeah, have a great day. Enjoy Dev Day.